Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of AHYSEN Nation. I have a very, very special guest with me today, and I should be able to be more familiar with him because he's been here for a little while as an exchange student from Austria, Reini Meissl. And Reini, I think is we call you around here, or they called you around here a lot.
Yes.
Welcome to the AHYSEN Nation. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about the program. How did you come? You're in media, right?
Yes, I'm working for television in Germany too.
So how did you come to get to Channel 9 for this program?
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought you were in your early 20s and you were an exchange student doing something for college, but you're an old man.
Yeah, so Johnny, first thing, I'm not a student anymore. I'm like, because I'm 33, I'm on the job for 10 years now. So I'm a TV reporter in Germany. And the program I'm doing, it's called Arthur F. Burns Fellowship. And Arthur F. Burns was American ambassador in Germany in the 80s. So it's named after him, and it's kind of a work exchange program for German, American, and Canadian journalists, young journalists, who want to go, abroad for more than just a vacation, but to get like a work experience.
So what do? You apply, and how many people apply, and they whittle it down to a few and things like that? Are there criteria that they look at?
Yes. So they have like kind of an assessment center. I don't know how many people apply in Germany, to be honest, but they have I think they have like 30 people for the assessment center. And then they have they narrow it down to 10. So there is 10 tickets every year. And it's kind of competitive in Germany. So this is why I had to apply 2 times. And which was fine, I mean, I really had to work and fight for it, but...
Wow. Now, the TV station you're working for in Germany, they were okay with you leaving for, how long have you been here? A month, 2 months?
2 months.
2 months. Were they okay for you leaving? Do you have a job to go back to, or did you have to quit? Or?
Yes. So no, they were like really supporting me, and I'm really thankful for that, because they said, we're gonna send you to the United States. You applied for this program. We support you. We like that. And when you come back, you will have like many experiences for our station. So. No, they were really supportive, and while I was here, I was, shadowing reporters at WAFB to get like an impression of how things are going on here.
Now, did you do any reporting for your station?
Yes, so
While you were here?
Yes, I also did stories for my German station, like all different kind of stories. So back in Germany, during the last years, I was working mostly for an entertainment news program. It's called Exklusiv, and you could compare it to Entertainment Tonight, for example. But I was starting off at a local news station in the north of Germany. So, you know, all you're doing here as a local station in Louisiana, it was really familiar to me, though like it's obviously a different country, but like the type of journalism, I know it because I started off doing it. So I was really happy to also cover news stories again. So I did a story about the hurricane recovery in South Louisiana. I did a story about the abortion ban in Texas, for example. But I also did like a story on Britney Spears because, you know, her conservatorship ended. And
it's an international topic.
It is. It was
you
so
were fascinated by that.
Yes, even since like the New York Times documentary, there was, you know, like a huge interest in this topic. And she is from Louisiana. She's from Kentwood, so I was happy to go to Kentwood first time in my life. And I think it was my first road trip, you know, on my own. I had my iPhone with me, so I was filming on my own, which was kind of, you know, challenging.
So you drove to Kentwood by yourself?
I did.
With a GPS, I would think, and a little
yeah,
help?
with my phone, with Google Maps.
I don't know if I'd be comfortable driving somewhere in Austria, for example, if I visited there by myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, you speak such fluent English. I'm so impressed with your English is just gorgeous. It's perfect.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I also came here, you know, to improve it, and I think I did at least a little bit. But yeah, I'm fine. I just, you know, enjoyed speaking it on a daily basis because in Germany, you know, I'm watching like American TV series or movies. I'm reading American articles, like English articles, but speaking it like every day and being kind of also forced to it. And I think, yeah, I was also looking for that.
Well, they say that's the way, because I've always wanted to learn a second language. And in other countries, I don't know how many languages you know. Is it English, German?
And a little bit of French, but very bad.
Because you know, in other countries, they graduate from high school with 2 or 3 languages that they graduate fluently speaking. And in the United States, we don't force that. You know, so we graduated with just English. And I've always been told to learn another language, you have to really immerse yourself in the culture, go and live there.
Yes.
You know, the Rosetta Stone courses and things like that are okay, but if you really live in, you know, for an extended period of time. Did you find that true, that when you came down here and stayed for an extended period of time, you really got the gist of the language better than a textbook in Germany?
Yes, definitely. Because I was also, as I said, I was kind of forced to, you know, I was looking up words because I realized, you know, dealing with so many different topics, like for example the hurricane topic, just to understand the whole system of like how people apply for like help, how people would get like the money they need for recovery, like just to understand the whole system. There are so many like terms I wasn't familiar with.
I bet you know the term FEMA.
FEMA, I know. I
you
know FEMA. Now.
FEMA.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about some of the things that you thought were positive things here in the United States, and some of the things that you didn't really understand were like they were and might be a negative. Expand on that a little bit. Some of the positives and some of the negatives that you feel like you experienced.
Yeah. I feel like on a personal note, I will definitely take back home how friendly and open-minded people were I met here. Though like we all know that like the south of the United States and Louisiana is supposed to be like, you know, very conservative state. I really met so many really nice and open-minded people who were really willing to help me, and I had many questions during the last weeks because I really, you know, just in everyday life there is so many issues you have to deal with, and it was not easy sometimes, but people were really friendly, and it started all when I was looking for an apartment. So back in Germany, it was all very short notice. So 2 weeks before my flight to the United States, I got green light for WAFB because I was looking for a newsroom willing to host me, but I couldn't succeed because of the pandemic, and everybody was still working from home. So we got many rejections, and it was really a tough time because I really wanted to do it. So I got the green light from WAFB, and I was looking for a place to stay, and I couldn't find a place. And I was just, I was sitting in my living room in Germany, and I was really, again, really depressed because I was thinking, where should I live? And I was not aware that it was also connected to one of the major issues here right now, which is the Hurricane Ida, and the consequences. So many people lost their homes, so they needed places to stay, so they were moving to hotels and short-term rentals. So this is why there was like an extreme shortage of these places here. So basically, even before I came here, I got a big impression of one of the major issues here, which is like people weeks after the hurricane still waiting for help and basically being homeless. And it was really shocking to me. So
well, in some cases, like to the west of here, 2 hours is Lake Charles. And they're still dealing with issues from hurricane a year ago or so.
Yeah.
So that is frustrating.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Were you ever frustrated after you got the green light to come to WAFB, but you couldn't find a place to stay? Did that frustrate you? Did you ever think, I'm probably not going to be able to go?
Yes. To
And
be
then-
honest, yes. I was really, and it was so nerve-wracking because I finally got the place, and then there was like other issues lining up. But I got lucky, and a colleague, Alison Childers, the assistant news director of the station, she said, he's looking for a place to stay. We got a big house. He can stay with us, which was really like the first of many really heartwarming human gestures I experienced while I was here. So they said, he can stay with us. He needs a place to stay. And I was like a complete stranger. We never met before. So, yeah, as I said,
Yeah.
like
Allison's-
many friendly people here.
Allison's such an incredibly talented, gifted, and sweet lady. She knows good people when she sees good people, and she never batted an eye. She had no problem with that.
Yes,
It's awesome.
yeah. Like another topic, another issue I had, I was looking for a rental car because I was not. I kind of knew that I would need a car when I was here. When I'm here, I was thinking of maybe I'm Ubering, but I knew that I want to do my own story, so I'll probably need a car to get around. But I couldn't find a rental car, so there was not a single rental car in this city. And again, I was thinking like, wow, is this even possible in a capital city of Louisiana? And it is, because there is like a big shortage. And also one of the topics, which affects people here. So
I think the shortage of rental cars has more to do with the pandemic, though, than the hurricanes, to be honest with you, because when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, a lot of the rental car companies sold a lot of their cars because no one was able to rent them. They were having to pay insurance so they sold a lot of their inventory, and now it's just now starting to turn around, and they're still having trouble getting inventory back, and then add the hurricane on top of that. Man, that must have been a challenge. Did you ever get one?
So I finally found a car. I had to go to New Orleans, though, to get it, to the airport, and I got it, and since then I was like, of course, like feeling more independent, because in the city you need a car.
It's funny how some cities you don't, like New York City. You don't need a vehicle in New York City.
Yes.
And some people say even in New Orleans, depending on where you are, you can take the city transit and the streetcars and things like that.
Or like a
walk
bike.
Or a bike or walk.
Yeah.
But Baton Rouge is so spread out, you kind of do need a car.
You really do need a car. In fact, you need a car to get lunch, because like, at many restaurants there is just drive-through. So when I wasn't, when I didn't have a car in the beginning, I was kind of having a hard time to get food because, yeah, as I said, many situations. But everybody also at the station was so helpful and supportive, so I got really lucky. And since day one, I really felt accepted and as a team member at the station.
Yeah.
And this is really special because I know when you have to do your job, I know it from Germany, sometimes you don't have the time or like the energy to focus on, this foreign reporter having 1,000 questions and constantly asking you things. So I really appreciate that, and I don't take it for granted. And the managers, the news director, Rob Hayes, he was just everybody was just amazing, and I feel really honored that I had the chance to work here.
It's a very nurturing organization. I can't speak for other TV stations, but the ones I've worked for and the radio stations I've worked for, very nurturing and very caring and want to learn. We want to teach. We're very proud of what we do. We feel like we do a really good job, and we want to share that experience with other people. So that doesn't surprise me that you've felt that
Yes.
from here, because that's I've heard that from other people that have come in. We've hosted a couple of other stations in our chain when New Orleans got kicked out because of a hurricane, and then Lake Charles got kicked out. They came over here and broadcast in this very room locally to their own audiences from our station, and they said, "You guys are so welcoming and so
Yes.
And they were here for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Some of them.
It's incredible, yeah.
So I could definitely. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So out of all the places you've traveled, you and I talked. You were vacationed in Las Vegas, and you did some time in New York, and now in South Louisiana. So you've never been to the South until this trip, and you've been here a couple of months. Any other parts of the country that you would like to visit, like come back and visit that you haven't visited that you've heard about? Any other parts of the United States?
Definitely. I mean, this country is so big. I'm really glad that I had the chance to see some parts of Louisiana. But I really have to say, after 2 months, there is still some important parts missing. I had the chance to go to Texas for a story, but also only for 24 hours. I've been to Austin, so even just the states next to Louisiana would be like really interesting to see. Like Texas is it's so big, and this is just so fascinating. Like how big this country is.
Wow.
Being from Europe, and
I guess we take
so
that for
much to
granted
see.
here in the country, here in
Yeah.
the United States. Well, we take a lot for granted. We're a very arrogant people in some ways, and a very pompous people in some ways, because we don't stop and appreciate the fact that there are other countries that aren't as big or don't have it as well off as we do. I think Austria and Germany are fine, but so you live in Germany right now.
Yes.
How often do you get to go home to Austria?
Maybe 2 to 4 times a year to see my family.
What is that trip for you? How is that trip for you time-wise? How long does it take you to get from where you live to your hometown in Austria?
Yeah, so I would take a plane from Cologne or like Frankfurt to Vienna, it's a very short flight. It's approximately 1 hour, like a little bit more. So it's not that far. And then I would, my mom would pick me up at the airport, and then we would go home. So my mom is, she's living south of Vienna. So you have Vienna, the capital city, and no mountains there. So many people, when you think of Austria, you just think about Sound of Music and mountains and yodeling and skiing and stuff like that. I didn't grow up in the mountains. So, but like when you go south from Vienna, like the mountains start, like the Alps, and my mom is living there. So, yeah, we'd go by car maybe an hour, and then I would be home. And I'm happy going home because I like speaking the Austrian version of German, because I grew up speaking German, but it's like a different kind of German. It's like a dialect. So I kind of in Germany I adapted to the German, if that makes sense for you. But
I'm relating to that
Yes.
on how we speak here because I grew
Yes.
up in Texas
Yeah.
and I moved to Louisiana just 3.5 hours from my hometown, and I felt like I was in another country.
Oh, really?
I didn't know how they. I mean, the dialect here in South Louisiana was
Yeah.
just so deep, and I
Yes.
didn't. They were speaking English, and I was like, I don't know what you're saying.
yeah.
So that must have been a shock for you as
Yeah.
well.
Sometimes I had a hard time, understanding people. For example, waiters at the restaurant or at a bar, or like people working at a supermarket, when they would just assume that I'm from the United States and would just, talk like they would talk. And I was like, asking one or two times, like, sorry, what did you say? What did you say? But I had many people helping me with that.
What were some of the fun things that you did? Do you have anything that you're going to go back with a certain memory that, wow, that was such a blast that day when we did?
Yeah. So I have to say, though I also really love Baton Rouge, and I really think that there is many, nice parts of town and many nice bars and restaurants. I really like New Orleans. I really do. And I was like really looking forward to going there. And I think it was in my 5th week. So I spent quite a lot of time here. And then I was finally going there, and I was so looking forward to it. And, in Germany, or like probably even Europe, everybody would know New Orleans since Hurricane Katrina. So I was familiar with with the name of the city, but I didn't know much about it, to be honest. And it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really interesting to see. I've been to the World War II Museum, which was a really great experience. I've been to Bourbon Street. I did it all. And
it's so unfortunate
Yeah.
that you did it during the time of the COVID, but pre-COVID, it was crazy, and they're getting back to some of the fun and and what makes New Orleans New Orleans. But I think pre-COVID, it was very different than it is even now.
Yeah.
So it's I wish you would have been able to experience it pre-COVID to kind of really get.
I get it. But Bourbon Street was still like, it was crazy again. Let's put it that way. It was still, many people and partying, and I really got, when people told me, it's a crazy city, New Orleans, it's really crazy. Now I know what people, mean by that when they say that. And it was also really kind of crazy and interesting to see this, and knowing same time in Austria they have a lockdown again because the COVID numbers are incredibly high, and even in Germany the situation is not good, and this is really so. I really enjoy being here because the situation is really, really different, and I'm going back to a country where they probably have another lockdown again, which is...
Did you have to get vaccinated to travel, or did you get
Yes.
vaccinated when you were here, or how did...
I got vaccinated before I came to the US.
Are you nervous going back now that the cases are ticking up again in your country?
I wouldn't say I'm nervous, because I feel like I did my work to, take care of my personal health, and also the community and the society. So I'm not nervous. It's just kind of sad, because we all were hoping that this is going to be ending like soonish, and it somehow looked so good in summer. And to talk with my mom again, and hearing her that we have to stay at home again, and it's winter, and it was so tough for so many people, basically for all of us. And to get this kind of news from Europe, it's really, it's sad.
Where do you
It's
see
sad.
this going? Over here there was a little hesitancy on the vaccinations for different reasons, not the least of which were political reasons. Is there a hesitancy on getting vaccinated over there? Is there a lack of vaccine available? What's the issue? Why is it ticking up?
Yeah, so the vaccination rate in Germany and Austria is higher than in Louisiana, for example, which I find really interesting. So I think in Louisiana it's about 50%. I think like in Germany when I left, it was like a little more than 60%. I think, I'm not sure about that. So I was thinking, okay, when you have like when the vaccination rate is lower in Louisiana, why is the situation here so much, why are the numbers not as high as in Europe? And to be honest, I don't have an answer for that, but there is like not enough people are vaccinated. That's for sure. And interesting is like in Austria, the public broadcasting station, so the biggest TV station of Austria, they're doing kind of a lottery. Would you call it lottery? Mm-hmm. Where you can, when you apply for getting vaccinated, you can win like a house, you can win a car. So even the media is trying now to motivate people to get vaccinated. I really feel like there wasn't enough efforts from the politics, from the government to get people motivated to really get vaccinated. Another example is that Vienna, I think they just did it like 1 or 2 weeks ago, they were sending vaccination appointments to everybody who was not vaccinated yet. So, probably you just have to offer it to people to get a higher rate. So there is many different ideas, and it's all very late. It's not too late, but there is some issues with that for sure.
Okay, so you've been here for a while, and you've been here some other trips. If you were going back home and talking to somebody that's never been to the United States, what would you tell them that they have, based on your visits, mm-hmm. what would you tell them you got to do this, or you got to see this, or you got to go here?
Wow. I would probably first ask what the main interests are, because it's like so diverse. I would, like, if you really want to get to know the United States, I would probably also suggest not to go to the big cities, but to go, for example, to Louisiana. And this is what I've been told before I was coming here, because I was planning on going to LA to cover like my entertainment news stories. But I've been to LA many times before, so I've been told, well, probably you should go to a place where you have never been before. And I'm really glad I did this, because it's still the United States, but it's different. And big cities like New York, for example, they have like a different dynamic. And to get really a deeper understanding of all kinds of topics, it starts with, the Trump phenomenon, which like whole Europe is, kind of trying to figure out why so many people in this country would vote for Trump when, there are so many issues. Like the gun thing, mm-hmm. Topic. Mm-hmm. All this kind of issues, you have to talk with people to get an understanding for them. And as a reporter, you have to be there where it's happening, because in Germany I can read articles about it, I can watch documentaries, but to really get a deeper understanding, you have to go where it's happening. And this is why I'm happy that I did that, because it really, I learned a lot from mm-hmm. people, from just talking to people.
Were you ever scared while you were here?
I was probably, I wouldn't say scared, but I was worried because of the, because of the crime happening here. Because I heard that Baton Rouge, there is some parts of the city which are probably not that safe, and where you shouldn't go, like during night, for example. And this was kind of also a very interesting experience, because it's also obviously also in Germany and in big cities in Germany there is regions where you shouldn't go at night. But it's not like it's not that there's like so many shootings like over here. And here at the station you have like news coverage about that, not every day, but like on a very, very often. And this was kind of new for me, to to know that there is, there's many people owning guns, and there is like a high like crime rate, murder rate, whatsoever. So it put me in a new situation, and I had to deal with that. But I was never like frightened. I wouldn't say that, but I was like being careful for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got to. Well, you're kind of a world traveler, so I mean, you kind of know how to be careful in uncomfortable or unfamiliar situations. Could you ever live in the United States, do you think?
I would definitely consider it, like at least for 1 or 2 years, because I've been fascinated by this country since I was a little kid, and I would definitely do it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would like say I would move here forever, because I'm from Europe, and I feel as a European, and I like my life I have there, but this was such an adventure, and was also one of the reasons why I wanted to do this program, because I wanted to break out of my daily routine, and I wanted to be on the road, and I also wanted to do it just on my own, and again, many challenges, and also and I want to be honest with you. I was not always like super happy when things were not going the way I wanted them to go, or when I had like some different kind of issues. Here, yeah. I had some. Mm-hmm. There were some complicated moments, because it's far from home, and I met so many great people, but there is nights, like evenings, when you're on your own, and you have to deal with different kind of issues. But I also feel like it helps you to grow, and as I said, I wanted to do it on my own, to make it on my own, and I got the help that I needed, so I'm really lucky.
Well, excited that you were here. This is fantastic, and I appreciate you visiting with me a little bit today. And so you fly out of Baton Rouge or New Orleans. Where do you fly out when you go home?
So I'm going back to New Orleans to return my car.
You got to do that.
Yeah. And then I'm going to Los Angeles for a week for a vacation, and a few days Mexico, and then I'm going back home. Mid-December, so...
That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Well, now, can we call on you to do some reporting when you get back to Germany?
Of course.
Yes.
You should. And I really feel like, I really want to say that if journalists, like Canadian journalists, would like to have an experience like that and would be interested in going to Germany, I really would like to encourage them to apply for the Arthur F. Burns Fellowship, because in Germany it's very well known. I've heard that in America it's not that established. So Arthur F. Burns Fellowship, great program, and really, if you're interested in that, just apply. I can really recommend it.
Awesome, man. Reini Meissl, thank you so much, my
Johnny.
friend, for coming down, and have a very safe time on the West Coast, and a good time in Mexico. What part of Mexico are you going to?
I'm flying to Cancun.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Excellent.
Probably
You'll have a lot of fun there.
A few
There's
islands.
a little island off of Cancun called Isla Mujeres.
Oh, I've heard of that
If you get a chance, it's a little ferry ride, very easy. But Isla Mujeres is all by itself, a little island right off of Cancun, and I think you'll have a great time.
Nice.
Great time over there, because
I
we've
would
done
like
a
to
little
see
bit of
it.
that traveling.
Yes.
Sweet.
Thank you,
Safe
Johnny.
travels, my friend. It was great to have you here at Channel 9. I'm sorry we didn't get to spend more time together, but hopefully on a return trip maybe at some point. Yeah, very good.
And if you're in Germany or Austria, let me know.
I'm there so often.
You should go.
I really do. I'd love to, because I
Yeah.
do like to travel, and I've been to some of the bigger cities and things like Rome. In the United States, we've all done the Rome and the London and Paris, and Hawaii seems like another country, but that's part of our states. But never been to Germany. I think, I'd love to do, and Austria as well, your home country. So very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you, Reini Meissl. Reini is leaving us, and has been a blessing to all of us that have gotten to know him. And as much as he says he's learned from us, we've learned from him. So.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. And thank you for joining us on Asian Nation. I will see you tomorrow morning, dark and early on 9 News this morning. Until then, have a great afternoon.